So Digimon Story Time Stranger has just been out for 2 weeks. That's an insane thing to say. Honestly, it feels more insane than the fact that Digimon Survive is 3 years old now. And I did do a video going over all the DLC for the game. Since then, of course, we've learned that the pre-order Black Agumon and Black Gabumon are purchasable separately, not just via pre-order. The collaboration t-shirts are not downloadable, they are in-game that you can buy with in-game currency, and that the outer dungeons are not included in any edition of the game, so you do still have to buy the Hall of XP, the Hall of Money, and the Hall of Treasure. However, a big part of the deluxe and ultimate editions of the game is the Season Pass, covering 3 waves of DLC, each with 5 new Digimon, with evolution routes to them, and a new story chapter, plus probably some battles. And I've got a lot of requests to go over what those DLC waves might be and when they might release, and initially this was going to be a complete hypothesis. However, there is some pretty good evidence that we might already know largely what they are. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another video. And yes, we are talking today about the DLC waves, the season pass of Digimon Story Time Stranger, and what Digimon are going to be included. Now, I put up a short around the launch of Time Stranger talking about Black Agumon and Black Gabumon, and what's really interesting is when you pre-ordered or just bought them and obtained those Digimon, they do not get slotted into the field guide around the regular rookies, but instead their new evolution lines get added to the end of the field guide. But rather than being Digimon 452 onwards, Black Agumon instead occupies slot 468, Black Gabumon 469, and onwards through their evolutions up to 475. And I counted this wrong in my short, I'm a dummy for maths, but that means that between Gabumon Bond of Friendship number 451, also as an aside, why is a Pokemon in between the 2 of the bonds? Weird. And Black Agumon 468, we have 16 slots for Digimon, which lines up pretty nicely with the 15 Digimon that are going to be in the DLC, and 1 extra that we'll talk about in a bit. And hey, if you are a fan of Digimon enjoying this video, I reckon there's a good chance you also might like the Mega Man Battle Network series, and if that was your hyperfixation as a kid, Digimon or Mega Man Battle Network or both, I think you're going to love today's sponsor, Berserk B.I.T.S, a net hacking auto battler launching November 20th with a demo out now on Steam.
Long ago, the fate of cyberspace rested on this device. Now it rests on your desktop.
Berserk B.I.T.S is a Digimon Mega Man hyperfixation love child game that sits on your desktop. You're the net detective in Berserk B.I.T.S, an idle RPG auto-battler chip collecting game that runs on your desktop. Let your bit do battle and collect items, collect rare chips, and build your deck. Customize and level up to take down intense virus bosses as you unravel the mysteries behind the attacks on the net. Berserk B.I.T.S is all about collecting and building your deck with battle chips, upgrades, weapons, summons, and abilities that activate on your bit. With further development, they'll be adding many more interesting and wild battle chips, but there's currently already 101 to collect. You can team up with your digital buddy, collect more chips, and take on the internet. Battle viruses, explore new biomes, progress through the story, and defeat powerful bosses. With multiple playable bits and the ability to import your own sprite sheets and create your own characters, there is tons to love about Berserk B.I.T.S. I've even seen that there may already be some Digimon mods available right now. Berserk B.I.T.S has a brand new demo during Steam Next Fest with a chance to create your own bit with the development team. If you reach level 25 in the demo and join the official Berserk B.I.T.S Discord, you could have a chance to get your own character made for you in the game. So if you do want to do that, make sure you go to discord.com/invite/berserkboy, where they're also going to be listening to ideas and feedback. So if you have any after checking out the demo, make sure you let them know. So thank you to Berserk B.I.T.S for sponsoring this video. Make sure you go check out their demo on Steam Next Fest and get the full game if it looks good to you when it launches on November 20th. Thank you to Berserk B.I.T.S for sponsoring this video. So first of all, yes, this confirms to me that we are only getting 5 new Digimon per wave. While they've been a little bit ambiguous with the wording, it's going to be 5 Mega Digimon-ish per wave. Like I say, I initially wanted to talk about hypotheticals and Digimon Beat Break and Digimon Ghost Game. However, it does seem that they left some stuff in the files of the game which people found. If you're not interested in talking about data mine content, I totally understand. You can click off now and I'll see you in the next video. But according to a Reddit post by ManyAd4820, there is a compilation of Digimon from the dummy data list that contains more information than the others. The likelihood of them being DLC is high, but it's impossible to confirm. confirm. And that's something I really want to make a point of. It is very likely that this list and these Digimon that I'm going to talk about are going to be the DLC Digimon. However, things change in development all the time. For example, we also have a data mined list of moves of Digimon, including Armor Digivolutions not from 0-2, the Systemon, etc. But there's no way to tell at what point those got cut from development. Are these holdovers from Cyber Sleuth? Are these test data? This doesn't mean that any of these Digimon were significantly developed or indeed are ever planned to be in the game going forward. So while this data mine does point us in the direction of likely Digimon, very likely Digimon for the DLC waves, things can change at any minute because DLC is stuff added to games. Also, it is not impossible in the future that we get a Season 2. Digimon Story Time Stranger has sold incredibly well, maybe even more than Bandai Namco was expecting, topping Steam sales numbers charts. I'm waiting to hear what the sales for Steam, PS5 and Xbox are, and we've seen other Bandai Namco properties like Tekken get 2 or more season passes, and indeed games in the Dragon Ball franchise are still getting updates to this day. So let's have a look at what these waves might be. And first of all are the Royal Knights X category, right? And this is Omnimon X, Ukkomon X or Gallantmon X, Allforce Vidramon X, Magnamon X, and Jesmon X. And yes, these are the X antibodies. If you're not familiar, the X antibody is a type of Digivolution mode change. It primarily affects the Digicore and whole body of a Digimon to fight off something called the X program, which tries to kill them. And some very notable X antibodies are those of the Royal Knights. The Royal Knights tend to be associated with Yggdrasil or King Drizzle, which we do see in Digimon Story Time Stranger, though mainly through side quests that I won't spoil. However, the fact there is like a kind of side quest pertinent to the Royal Knights, I think does hint that there could be more elaborated on leading into the DLC of Digimon Story Time Stranger. I think these are all very obvious picks. More Omnimon variants are always going to sell well. Gallantmon is one of the most popular Digimon of all time. Allforce Vidramon, Magnamon, and Jesmon similarly. Speaking of Omnimon variants though, and this is the most Digimon thing that I've seen in a while, it's looking likely that there's going to be like an Omnimon pack of 5 Digimon. Omnimon Merciful Mode, Blitz Greymon, and Crescarurumon. And of course, Blitz Greymon and Crescarurumon, very requested Digimon, and their own Omnimon form is Alter S, which uses the Blitz Greymon side as a cannon and the Crescarurumon side as a sword, a switch up to the regular Omnimon. And then it also includes Omnimon Alter B too here, the kind of Alter equivalent of Omnimon's Wart. This again makes a ton of sense. Merciful Mode is popular with some people. Blitz Greymon and Crescarurumon are by far the Digimon I have seen most requested for this game, including Alter S of course. And then Alter B just makes sense for this very Omnimon focused pack. Still wish we could see Victory Greymon and Zeed Garurumon too, but whatever. Then is one that I think honestly I'm a little mad is going to be DLC if it happens, because this should have been base game. But of course we have Bancho Leomon in the base game, we have Chaosmon and Valderam in the base game, so a Bancho pack makes a ton of sense. Bancho Stingmon, Bancho Golemon, Bancho Mamemon, and Bancho Lilymon. The Bancho overall, including Bancho Leomon, are a group of Digimon. However, haven't you noticed something a little bit weird about that group? Give me a minute, I'll get back to it. And then there is the etc category with Ancient Greymon and Ancient Garurumon, Parallelmon, and then 3 non-mega Digimon, Lylemon, Lyamon, and Ukkomon. So that's what that data is in the game. But that adds up to 20 Digimon, 5 more than the 3 waves of 15 Digimon total, and some things line up quite well. The Omega Pack or Omni Pack, being Merciful Mode, Blitz, Cress, Alter S, and Alter B, is a great 5 mega pack, exactly what the DLC promises, as is the Royal Knights X Antibody Pack with 5 Royal Knights X antibodies. However, the third pack of supposedly 5 falls apart a little. There's only 4 Banchos that are left over to be added to the game, and that's great, but who joins the Future Karn here? I do have some information from Zeke that I'm going to add later in this video, so enjoy this speculation that's coming up. However, we're going to get a definitive answer at the end, so just stick with me. I love making videos and more information coming out when the video's already done. Like I say, Chaosmon is already in the game, so is Valderam. Do they add Ultimate Chaosmon? Well, that's not in the file, so we've got no idea. Okay, then maybe does Parallelmon go with them, I guess? There's no real lore reason it should. Parallelmon is a dimension meddling monster from the V-Tamer manga, although it is associated with crossover content, so maybe Parallelmon will be the boss of the story side of the Bancho DLC that we have to fight and can eventually recruit, like maybe have a Keramon line go up to Parallelmon now. Maybe as it is a Bancho storyline, have like Marcus Damon show up as a bit of a cameo. We have seen in other Digimon video games like Redigitize and indeed Adventure PSP, heroes from other Digimon animes show up in the game, so that would be cool. Still does feel a little bit weird though that we're going to have 4 Banchos and then a random mega tacked on to the end. And we can't tack on Ancient Greymon and Ancient Garurumon because again, they're not associated with the Banchos, and that would make a pack of 6. 6. So looking at those 6 that we've got left over, they are definitely the weirdest. Ancient Greymon and Ancient Garurumon feel like they may have actually been cut from the main game rather than being DLC at a late stage, as the Fire and Light spirits from Frontier already have a big chunk of Evos in the game, and Megas in Emperor Greymon and Magna Garurumon, plus their Mega Plus stage in Susan, Susanuomon. So maybe it was just decided that there was already too many Megas railroaded for the Fire and Light spirit, so they decided to trim it down a little bit and just focus them into the evolution of Susanuomon. It doesn't not make sense that they'd be DLC, but given that we basically only have the Fire and Light spirits and then Ranamon, Calamarimon, and Ancient Wisemon for some reason, I think it would make way more sense in future in maybe a Season 2 to do a dedicated Frontier pack. Yeah, it's a lot of Digimon, but maybe adds all the other Spirit Digimon, or at least all the other Ancients. Then, of course, we have Lylemon and Liamon, the Lion King Digimon. Honestly, it's super disappointing they're not in the base game, because Loda Leomon is in the game, a very common and kind of the de facto evolution of Liamon and Lylemon. But again, I just doubt these guys are part of the DLC waves. They don't line up with what's been established by Bandai official media. This is 5 Mega Digimon, or routes to Mega Digimon. Like, maybe if you want to be a little bit ambiguous with the term routes to Digivolution, you could include adding new Digimon into those routes. That's kind of what I hoped was going to be the case, but doesn't seem like it's the case now. Adding a new Mega, like something like, I don't know, Heavy Leomon or Baihumon into the game, and then also adding Lyamon and Lylemon to create a new lionish evolution line. I don't know. Honestly, I was kind of hoping that the Digimon Sovereign might have been a DLC wave for this game, as they are notably absent from it, and we're obviously massive players in Digimon Survive, and really a lot of the big players in Digimon Survive story-wise are divided between Digimon Adventure references and Olympus 12 references, with Plutomon, Ceresmon Medium, and like I say, the Sovereigns, plus Fanglongmon Ruin Mode, which debuted in that game. And like I said in the start of the video, it is very likely that while these things have been data mined, things could change. I don't think they necessarily will change, and maybe they'll save these things for a Season 2, but if you're looking for a pack of 5 Digimon, Mega level Digimon that people really want in the game, Azulongmon, Ebonwumon, Zuchaomon, Baihumon, and Fanglongmon, plus a mode change to his Ruin Mode, with a really cool dedicated Sovereign story, maybe referencing Digimon Survive, maybe as the Sovereign are connected to Japanese and Chinese mythology, throw Kunlun in there a little bit more, and then if you really wanted to make the DLC worthwhile for fans, you could then also add Digimon that digivolve up to them. As I touched on, Loda Leomon is in the game, and in the Digimon Adventure Tri-continuity, the pre-evolution of Baihumon was Loda Leomon, the Bearmon partner of Daigo Nishijima. So we already have Bearmon in the game. I mean, you could throw in Lylemon too, and create a evolution line through to all the Sovereigns with existing and new Digimon. Azulongmon coming off Triceramon, Zuchaomon off Hippogriffomon, Ebonwumon, Orochimon, and then evolving down. All of those Digimon are already in the game. Bibbidi-bib, future Karn here, and we have an unfortunate, in an unsurprisingly deleted tweet, and I'm not going to name the voice actor, I'm going to crop it out here. He did confirm a list of Digimon that he voiced in the game. 2 of them are not in the game. Those being Bancho Golemon and Jesmon X Antibody. Yes, so if we were under any doubt that the data mine Digimon pertain to DLC, well, an English voice actor has already done voice work for them. Meaning, first of all, incredibly likely these are going to be the DLC waves, Banchos, X Antibodies, and the Omnimon pack, but also that those DLC wave stories will pertain to the Digimon contained within them. And indeed, I forgot about this when I was recording before, but we have not seen any use of the elevator in the in-between theater yet, as far as I'm aware, so it's likely that the elevator will be what takes you to the new DLC locations. And yeah, if the voice actor has recorded dialogue for Jesmon X and Bancho Golemon, sure, it could just be in battle stuff, victory cries, etc., but either way, that means the Digimon are going to be in the game, doesn't it? So yes, thanks to Zeke for providing me this information, but we do have more data mined from the game now, and this is major spoilers, so if you do want to jump out now, I do not blame you, please feel free. It does seem that Parallelmon is going to be kind of an overarching villain, which is incredible, finally freed from Vitae jail, and acting as the kind of dimension hopper for the story. But it has interesting placement. Instead of being a villain for maybe the Bancho pack, they're actually separating off Omnimon Merciful Mode, meaning that Parallelmon is going to go with the Alter S, Blitz, Crest, and Alter B pack, and maybe Omnimon's What Defeat's going to be involved there too, putting Omnimon Merciful Mode with the Bancho pack, which is fascinating. But there is one major outlier here, which does add some intense credence to the idea that the Royal Knight X, Omnimon, and Bancho packs are going to be the DLC included in the season pass of this game. And that is Ukkomon? Well, this really starts to paint an interesting tale. Ukkomon is not in the game Digimon Story Time Stranger. It is not one of the rookies that you can recruit in your game. However, of course, it is in the data, and it's available as a card in the Jogmon card game. Even more than just being a card in Jogmon, like that could be a fun little Easter egg, Ukkomon gets its own trophy dedicated to it and its card. A card of legend. Obtain a legendary card. However, Ukkomon does not fit into the established rules of the DLC packs. It's not a mega level Digimon. My suspicion is that if Ukkomon is getting added to the game, it will actually be given out for free in anticipation of the first DLC wave or maybe the final one. They've already demonstrated that they're patching the base game with quality of life features and bugs for free, which they should do, but you know what I'm saying, they're willing to put the work in for no extra money. And while it's a little late to still promote Digimon Adventure 0 to the beginning, it could still be a good token, a good gesture to the fanbase. And given that we know there are 16 slots between Bond of Friendship and Black Agumon, Ukkomon would be our 16th. 15 season pass Digimon, and the 16th Ukkomon, which is already kind of in the game through cards and trophies. However, if we're using that logic, that does mean that Gap cannot have any more Digimon in it, indicating that Liamon, Lylemon, Ancient Greymon, and Ancient Garurumon are legitimate cut content, and it also potentially means that Big Ukkomon, the evolution of Ukkomon, is also not going to be included in the game right now. However, if we do get a Season Pass 2 or a Digimon Story Time Stranger Hacker's Memory equivalent, a new game but built on the existing assets to heavily reduce development time and put out a new game, like how they did with Hacker's Memory, like how Zelda did with Majora's Mask after Ocarina of Time, like how Final Fantasy did with 10-2 after 10, or yeah, probably more likely through more season passes, there's nothing saying they can't add Digimon on to the end of the field guide after Metal Garurumon Black number 475. We do have a box limit of 999 and potentially room to add 300 more Digimon to the game too, from what I've heard from people looking at the files. So while they might not be in the game now in any way, there is of course nothing saying that more Digimon can't be added of any level through any method. New season pass, new game, free updates, whatever it might be. However, it looks most likely right now that the 3 DLC packs are going to be Omnimon X, Magnamon X, Allforce Vidramon X, Gallantmon X, and Jessmon X, Bancho Lilymon, Bancho Stingmon, Bancho Golemon, Bancho Mamimon, and Omnimon Merciful Mode, and Blitz Greymon, Crescarurumon, Omnimon Alter S, Omnimon Alter B, and Parallelmon, with apparently maybe some connection to Omnimon's Vought Defeat 2, although I'm not sure how that's going to play in if it does at all. All of that confirmed to be distributed by September 30th, 2026, meaning we're probably looking at a wave every 3 or 4 months, so something like December, January, April, May, and then August or September being the final wave. But that seems most likely to be the Digimon included in the DLC or Season Pass. But as I've said about 9 times now, there could be more DLC in future, so let me know in the comments down below which Digimon you'd like to see in DLC. Personally, I of course am always hoping for my boy Pulsemon and his evolutions. I still think it's crazy that Monmon is not in the base game. Maybe now we've got Digimon Beat Break coming out, they could do like Monmon to Hanumon to Gokumon to Seiten Gokumon, although I wouldn't really want to cut out Kakamon either. There are a plethora of Digimon that I wish were in this game, but hopefully going forward into new games into the future, we're going to include even more Digimon. So let me know your picks in the comments down below, and thank you to my sovereigns, ZDK14, Chaotic Prophet, and Jeremy Babineau, as well as everyone else who supports me over on patreon.com/Karn EX, and my channel members here on YouTube who click that join button, or were gifted memberships on my live streams. Always make sure you're checking out my live streams, because there's a very good chance you'll get gifted memberships by a kind supporter. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.